The story about a loan that's closing today, a client of mine, Nathan, he's buying a restaurant, Mickey Pigg's, located in the Blue Ridge Mountains, North Georgia. He's been looking at this project since January of this year. He came to me, his information was super clean, tax returns, he sent them to me immediately as soon as I asked. Forms got filled out quickly, all of it super great sign. He did, of course, like everyone else, have some questions on some specific forms, helped him through those, and then, not uncommon, sent me info from the seller on the particular business he was looking at, which at the time was Mickey Pigg's. It was a mess. None of it was a full document. Pictures of P&L statements, pictures of tax returns. I could tell, just because I've been doing this so long, that the numbers made sense, that they were there, and just couldn't actually piece everything together. So sent him on a mission back to the seller to try and figure out what was actually going on. Can we get some documents? He worked on that about a month. I'd say probably late February. That one just ran into a dead end, didn't work out. Happens. So he ended up finding another restaurant through a broker. It was actually located in South Carolina, but not too far of a drive for him. It was about an hour commute. His current job is very flexible. He works in a hospital, sets his own schedule. He could work 5 days a week. He can work 1 day a week. And so it worked out really well for what he was looking to accomplish. So on that particular restaurant in South Carolina, we got him approved. Documents were very easy. But very first question, if I go back to my emails that I asked the broker was, hey, is the landlord cool with a 10-year lease? Oh, of course. Yes. We've already talked about it. Dozens of emails where we're confirming last minute things that are going to happen before closing. And this business broker says, yeah, they're covered. So we worked 2 months. Probably almost 3. It was, I think, the end of May when this ended up completely falling apart. But we completed the closing checklist. We had a draft lease from the landlord. Everything looked great. And then when it came time to actually get the landlord's signature, we found out that the broker had not, in fact, talked to the landlord. Even worse, the landlord was set to demolish the building in a couple of years, which was not going to work. So he's not going to sign a 10-year lease because he wants to demolish the building. He's got development plans for the property. There was no way out of that one. I think we talked our ears off back and forth. There was just no way to salvage that deal. And so it was back to the drawing board. Nathan sent me a couple other projects, all similar restaurant industry, barbecue. But then funnily enough, he ended up hearing back from the seller of Mickey Pigg's that he talked to back in January and was able to actually sit down with them, collect documents. It still wasn't an easy process. We had to really dive in, take those pictures, put them into PDFs, collect them all, work with the seller on their timeline, really hold everybody's hand through the process. And we're okay with that. That's really what I do on almost every project. Those are the ones that are fun. If I'm not having to dig in and talk to a seller, it just doesn't seem like my kind of deal most of the time. Anyways, the process was what it was. We got through it. Nathan was a champ. Again, like I said, his information the whole time, he was just quick. That's huge. He was very communicative. I asked a question. If he didn't know the answer, he'd get the broker on the phone, sellers on the phone. Had some issues with seller side of things like closing, payoff letters, that kind of stuff. Nothing major though. It was just simply a matter of you've got sellers who have been running a business for 30 years plus. You have a new buyer who's not been directly in business ownership before. And those worlds don't mesh really well all of the time. So when we ask the seller for something, there's always a little bit of pushback. And I've been running this business for 30 years. Why do you need this? Or for a buyer, they don't know how to answer that question. So they come to us or the SBA lender or their other broker, whoever they're working with on the financing. Why am I asking for this? When we're able to translate that lender checklist, SBA SOP rulebook into here's why we need it for this transaction, it makes the process so much smoother for everyone involved. And so with that, we were able to finally submit this deal back to a lender in, I guess it was maybe mid-June. And now here we are, early August. Of course, we already had the first deal approved, so it was a little bit quicker, but now we're here, closing on the purchase of Mickey Pigs in Alto, Georgia. If you have questions about the SBA process, please feel free to reach out. You know where to find me.